The Liar's Remorse. From a letter dated January 23rd, the 21st century. And so she had to ask, how old was Betty? 22, I replied. I guess I was a lot older than she was. She depended on me. Sometimes it was like I was a father to her. But I gave her confidence and the strength she needed to finish college, to hold that grueling waitress job. I was there for her, for moral support, helped her get through some tough times. She helped me get through mine. Oh, yes, all those tough times. Sounds like you two were close. Oh, yes, we were. We were close. George? What was her major? Yes, she had to ask that. And so I told her the truth. As you know, I don't like to lie. Oh, yes, Betty. She majored in criminal justice. That's what I said. Just like me. George, just like me? Oh, yes, just like you, I said. I'll never forget the graduation ceremony. The smile on her face, her sense of accomplishment, the way she held me tight that night. The way she kissed every inch of my skin after we made love. It was a special evening, a special moment, one I'll never forget. That was when a lot of silence filled the room. It unsettled everything, what I'd said. Yes, there was lots of silence. It unsettled everything I believed to be safe. And when I finally opened my eyes, I saw my great fiend again. The dancing flame once again burning in the kerosene lamp. Oh, yes, it burned and burned, and I felt it kindle something inside of me. Yes. I asked her, are you jealous? She crouched over. Maybe just a little, George. I mean, she's, well, you know, I'd rather not hear about her. I'm jealous, I guess. But more than anything, George, I'm curious. I'm sorry, I said. I am. I don't like to lie, it's true. That's why I told you the truth. It's alright, George, it's alright. Are you sure? I asked. Oh, yes, she said. It's not your fault. I wasn't there in your past. And then she clutched my hand, and her breath was like a winter wind. Yes, ready for the summer mornings. And sorrow brushed my cheeks, ever so cold, when she said, I'm sad. A little. I just wish that I met you before you met her. Oh, yes, I said. I'm sure. George? Yes. if you could change that, would you? Change what, my dear? Meeting her before you met me. What? I asked. A strange thought came to my mind, yes. Her eyes met mine, and I did not blink. No. How ironic, I thought. How ironic indeed if in my mind I could replace Betty with Amanda. That thought never occurred to me. It never occurred to me. If I could have Betty again, yes. If I could replace Betty with Amanda in my mind, oh, what world that would be. That thought never occurred to me. Oh, you must believe me. It's true. The Liar's Remorse. From a letter dated January 23rd, the 21st century. That thought never occurred to me to replace her in my mind with Betty. Oh, I had never thought of that before. It was a good idea, for sure. If I pretended that she was Betty. Yes, that might undo a lot of mistakes. Oh, that was what I wanted. When I saw her in my eyes there, and the kerosene lamp kept flickering its flames, rekindling the old fire inside. I shouldn't have been lying to myself all this time, believing this to be something else. It was always what I wanted, wasn't it? Betty to be back. Amanda twisted her hair while growing impatient with me. Maybe there was a question I forgot to answer, or maybe I just forgot to say anything while I was lost in my thoughts. She reminded me. George, would you change meeting her before me? Oh, yes. The question was brought back to my attention. Maybe I should lie. But I don't like to lie. It's true. Oh dear, what should I do? And so the words finally came from my lips, and the courage too. Yes, if I could undo what happened, I would, my dear. I would undo what happened, I said. Amanda tugged at my sleeve. Undo what, George? Meeting her first? Oh, I'm sorry, I said. We had big plans to marry and have kids someday, and use our savings to buy a nice house in Hollywood Hills. I even paid the priest. I bought the ring and booked the chapel. Yes, the chapel, the little one, just north of here, north of Hollywood. But you never told me what happened, George. It was fate, as they say, my dear. Another man. Another man it was, indeed. A terrible tragedy. Terrible, indeed. An affair, she asked. No, not that, I said. The thought of her death brought terror to me. It brought lots of regrets, too. Yes, it was another man. For a moment, I didn't want to replace Betty with Amanda in my mind, Amanda with Betty in my mind, but I had to. Yes, I had to. Since Amanda was here and she trusted me, I wanted to stop everything. You must believe me. That was enough for me, but then she had to ask, who was the man? I had wanted the truth out of my mind, that truth especially. I had to close my eyes again, and yes, relive that face I saw before he was executed in the lime green glass chambers. I had to relish how his spiteful eyes stared back as the gas settled around his face, his chest fluttering, his lungs frantically gasping for air. Oh, yes. How his skin turned dark and purple, and all the oxygen was starved away in his skin. I was so happy. How happy I was to watch him die. It was great pleasure. I was glad. I waited so long for them to discover that it was him. Yes, he was dead, so dead. I relished his flesh turning purple as I watched him die. But then I thought of Betty and her death too. I had to rethink things. I had wanted this truth out of my mind for so long. How could I tell Amanda the truth? How could I? The Liar's Remorse. From a letter dated January 23rd. the 21st century. What could I tell Amanda? I don't know. Sometimes silence is a man's best friend, and so I said nothing. When Amanda set the empty glass on the nightstand, that's when I think she saw danger in my eyes. She must have seen danger because that's when the candle flames flickered. Oh, did I say candle? The kerosene lamp flames flickered. Oh, things just weren't being seen right through my eyes. For a second there, Amanda started to look like Betty as well. And maybe that fellow's face in the gas chamber started to look like mine in the mirror. Oh, yes. Things weren't looking so clear all of a sudden. That kerosene lamp was rekindling old flames inside. Yes, that lamp was there the night I found Betty in the garage. Yes, I tell you, it is because of that lamp and those flames. Yes, those same flames that burn everywhere. They burn everything except our mistakes. The same flames that lack emotions and don't care about pain. If the flames had their way, they would burn and eat all the oxygen, yes, and kill us all. The silence was broken when Amanda said, "I'm here for you, George. I'll always be here for you." I closed my eyes to that and nodded. Something inside of me wanted to be honest with her, yet something else forced me to keep silent. Oh, maybe it was her beauty. I had no choice. I had to replace her with Betty. Especially when Amanda asked, "Who was that man, George?" I opened my eyes to that question. Oh, he was a hustler, an outsider, someone charming as a snake, and quite a liar, too. Was she in love with him? No, I said. No. What happened, George? I told the police what Betty told me when she met him. I told them the truth. That everywhere she went, he was there. The police, Amanda said. Why the police? Listen, I said. He was a very strange man. I mean, he always wore those black gloves when she saw him. Oh. And he had eyeglasses with thick black rims pressed against his eyes. You must believe me, it is true. He was very strange. Wait. Hold on. She stepped in closer to me. How did they meet? In the diner where she worked. Yes, he came in one night. He was wearing a yellow rain jacket. The rubber kind seen on fishermen. Yeah, she spotted him there, sitting all alone in a corner booth by the glass. And a sad winter winds were whipping against the glass. Oh, he said his car had broken down and he came in hoping to use a phone. He asked to use Betty's phone to make a call. And feeling bad for him, she thought it was a harmless thing to do. Yes, to let him use the phone. But boy, was Betty wrong about that. Why? Why, she asked. I stepped back. It was too much to replace her with Betty in my mind. But I had to. Yes, I had to replace Amanda with Betty in my mind. Yes, to relive that night for a moment. Yes. The Liar's Remorse. From a letter dated January 23rd, the 21st century. I stepped back. It was too much to replace her with Betty. He dialed her number, I said. When he called her number registered on his phone as a missed call. So he got her number that way. What's so bad about that? Amanda asked. Well, you see, with GPS, he tracked her location by her phone number. Ingenious. Very ingenious, I said. More images appeared in my mind. I fought the terrible sound of Betty's scream haunting my ears. I told the cops how I remembered seeing him once. Betty and I were 40 miles north of our city when we saw him driving next to us. That smile, it was was like pins were pressed in his cheeks. Yes, I remember his face. I saw it in the mirror. I saw his face. Are you kidding me, George? Amanda asked. Or is this another one of your fetish fibs that you're telling me, George? Oh no, no, I said. It's true, it's all true. George, you're starting to scare me. Please tell me you're not fooling around, George. Please, George, you're starting to scare me. Please tell me you're fooling around. Tell me. This is just a joke, right, George? This is just a joke. Another one of your fibs. I wish I could tell her. But I like to tell the truth. It's true. I don't like to lie. Images of Betty's funeral returned. Tears filled my eyes, and cheeks, and chin. I remember the sound of the organ. Oh yes, the sight of the coffin. I couldn't help myself. You must believe me. It's true. I remember the sound of the coffin as it lowered down into the grave. I couldn't stop telling Amanda any more of the truth. I don't like to lie, it's true. And so I did tell her. I saw Betty dead. Yes, I still remember her lifeless eyes closed in a casket. Her fingers were unable to move. It was terrible, Amanda. It was terrible. Oh, it happened the night when I was in. I had to stop myself there. My God. How I still remember her voice, my dear. I rose from the sofa and went to the liquor cabinet and slid over another bottle. All gin. No tonic this time. No ice either. Amanda paced the floor behind me. The floorboards creaked high-pitched, just like a cat screamed. I knew this wasn't gonna end well, but I would do my best to make sure it did. The Liar's Remorse. From a letter dated January 23rd, the 21st century. She was catching on to me. Yes. Yes, she was. She said, I thought you were kidding about the murder. I thought maybe it was suicide. And then she said, the way they met in that diner, George, it's like the way you and I met at Cantor's Jelly. Except I wasn't a waitress. You're scaring me, George. You're really scaring me. I didn't know what else to say. I don't like to lie, it's true. So I told her, don't be scared, my dear. And I had a sip of my gin. The police knew where I was the night she was killed. They knew I wasn't there. I had told them she wanted to meet me at the house. That she had a creepy feeling. And I had tried to comfort her. Don't be scared, my dear. I told them how she kept feeling like she was being watched and followed. And then I remembered the night she was killed. Yes. Yes, I do. The time when I answered her phone call. Oh, yes. She was walking the hallway from the garage. Yes. And she said it was dark. Very dark. Oh, how I remember that night. Yes. Amanda, she reached for her jacket. Her arms were flimsy when she slid them into the sleeves. I remember when Betty screamed. I still do. I remember the scream. I still do. Oh, yes. Betty saw his black clothes. And then hose. Yes. It was being pressed into her face, into her mouth. That's what I told the police. I told her. The look in her eyes, you can't explain. There wasn't a place she went. He didn't know where she was. It was all because of that phone. Yeah. I remember Amanda when she slid her phone out and inspected it then. So that's why you hate phones, George? Oh, yes. That's right. I'm scared now. Look at my fingers. They're shaking, George. They're shaking. I'm so scared. I'm creeped out. Don't worry, I said. You're so pretty and beautiful. And yes, you're young. So young like Betty was. Oh, you're just like a new Betty to me. You know, It never occurred to me that. Not until tonight. Yes, you're so beautiful like Betty. I am, she said. Oh, yes, I said. Oh, yes. Amanda buried her eyes in her hand. You were right about all this, George. It's terrible, horrible. It's time for me to go, she said. She reached for the scarf. I could sense the fear in her. Yes, she was trying to hold herself together. The murder. Was it murder or was it suicide was still going through her head. She couldn't tell if I was telling the truth. No. I didn't want her to leave. No, I wanted her to listen to me speak more. Yes, I had to have her listen to me speak more. I wanted her to kiss me again, yes. The taste of chocolate on her tongue. I wanted, so I waited and waited for her lips to come over one final time. Yes, but I knew she was afraid. Especially when she tucked her hands into her coat and slid my black gloves out. I could never describe the look on her face, nor the tone of her voice when she asked, how did these gloves get here? What gloves, I said. Your black gloves, she had said. Not with a laugh, of course. I don't like to lie. It's true. There's blood on them, she said. Dry blood. Aren't these yours, George? Oh, of course not, I said. I don't wear gloves. I never have. And I never will. And you know I don't like to lie. It's true. I never said you were lying, she said. God, I'm scared, she said. George, I'm gonna call you when I get home. Will you please answer this phone? Please answer this time. Please promise me. Oh, yes, I said. I knew you would ask that. I walked her to the door. She must have forgotten that I had worn black gloves outside the door before we entered. This time I'll answer, my dear. Oh, yes, I will answer you. You promised me, George. Of course I do, my dear. Oh, yes. Of course I do. The Liar's Remorse. From a letter dated January 23rd, the 21st century. It must have been well over an hour since she had left. Yes, I just sat there and I listened to the clock as it kept ticking. Ticking and ticking and ticking away all our lives. And yes, for a while I was alone, sitting and waiting in a dark place for Amanda to call. I don't lie, it's true. She was definitely right. I had my secrets, but who doesn't? I waited and waited until my phone finally rang. Oh my God! I'm in the garage, George, and it's dark. I think someone else is in here. I think so, George. I really do. I can just feel it. I think I hear him. I think I can hear him breathing. Who, my dear? Who is in the garage? And then I heard her scream. Just like Betty did. Yeah. Her scream hit the air and faded into silence. I had wondered what they'd say about this one. Love makes you do crazy things. Murder? No. Maybe suicide. Yes. They would never suspect another hose to the exhaust pipe. Not again. Not especially since I had loved Amanda. I really loved her. Yes, it's true. Yes, I don't like to lie. It's true.